What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? I'm the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus.
Wardlow here.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
What the hell?
Hi, it's me. Sorry, I had a technology problem. Lost power. So welcome, everybody, to another episode 1 on the Dive Bar of the IWC. So I'm your hostess, Ms. Amanda Jane, and I have someone special with me.
Get it?
See? Huh? Do I? Where's Marv?
Hell yeah.
And the fart
Marv's
gun.
drunk.
Happy birthday, Marv. You're the only one we're celebrating today.
She's the only birthday all week.
That's the only birthday all week. Every day is a birthday. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Not even an unbirthday, it's a real birthday. So yeah, I got Marsh here because, you know.
That was your show. I didn't want Marv to take over your show. So
Marv can take over my show.
This was
okay.
a you requested thing. You've been wanting to go since Saturday. You've been saying,
Well,
let's get
going.
no. Let's get on it.
No.
Every
Saturday,
day.
no. Where would I have done it? You would have been all, oh my God, you have like you don't have a microphone, the sound. Yeah, so no. It's a bit Sunday. So yeah, so this is our special Amanda in the Bank episode 1. Because yes, we're gonna do that. So before we go, because it's gonna be fun, let's play our favorite game. Hey Justin. Let's play our favorite game of what's in your glass. So Marsh, what are you and Marv drinking over there today?
Actually, this is pretty cool.
Oh. Uh-oh.
I forgot it over here.
It's suspense.
But we picked this up because producer lady's a veteran and we've talked about it, and she works for the government as well. She was able to pick up this Jack Daniel's single barrel rye that they made for Memorial Day that was handpicked by a Navy vet that they have, Melvin Keebler, who
no
who
relation
works
to
at
the elves.
distillery. I mean,
yeah, but no relation to the elves.
Who knows? I mean, I'm not going to say not, right? But they like the labeled barrel number, the date that it was barreled,
Wow.
all that stuff. Barrel house, like it's
That's
it was
cool.
pretty cool. So I thought, I'd have a little shot of that while we go through some stuff.
Yeah. I think we need to make a list of all of the wrestler. Oh, I don't want to say involved, but the wrestler kind of own drinks.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, well, I started getting the Wheatley vodka just because they have a deal with WWE. I
Yeah.
got the
Is
signed
it any
bottle by
good?
Bailey. It's really good. It's really good.
I'll have to try it. Better than
But
Tito's?
I have a bottle. Yeah, I like it better than Tito's.
Mm.
I have a bottle of it signed by Bailey, so I'm a big fan.
Of course, you
No.
got one signed by Bailey, which I was glad to see her yesterday. But we will talk about that. And you know me, I have my huge today. I have special iced tea, not Long Island. No, it's just iced tea. And my normal Coke with no ice. So cheers, guys! Because remember, it's not what you drink; it's who you're drinking with. Yes.
Yep.
So it's a very eventful day, I will say.
Yeah, you went out there. You were in LA.
I was in LA. Flew out that morning, and I flew out the next morning really, really early. So I was up for like 36 hours, 37 hours. That was exhausting, but lots of pretty good wrestling, So I did get out early enough that I was able to go to the Superstore. It was in Santa Monica, so it was only maybe like about, I'd say, I actually didn't even hit traffic, so it was about maybe 15 minutes each way, which was kind of nice. They had it in Santa Monica. I think it was like an old art gallery or something, because it was multi-floor. So they had on the first floor all the shirts, and then you go to the second floor and they had all of the belts, and then the third floor was the photos. So an art or whatever. I think they only did photos. I don't think they did autographs, but that was kind of cool, because when I was there when they opened the store, and I guess who walked right by me. I just kind of was like, oh my gosh, because people were freaking out. I'm like, oh, it's somebody. And then next thing I know, I like see this tattooed man. And I'm like, oh, it's Tommy End. Not even saying Aleister Black or Malachi Black. I'm like, oh, it's Tommy End. And then he turned around and gave me a wink. And I'm like, I didn't mean to be that fan. It's just that's how like I first started watching him. That was Tommy End. Never got to see Tommy End. I've only seen Malachi Black.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Aleister one, but that was really, really cool to kind of see him.
That is cool. You've always talked about him that way too, so it's not like, I don't feel like it's way out of line or weird for you to be all like, oh, it's Tommy End. It's like, oh no, that's what you've always said to me, even when you talk about him.
Yeah, I know it was weird to other people around, and they go, "That's Aleister Black, Malachi Black," and I go, I first started watching him, and he was Tommy End. So the guy was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." He's like, "You're one of those people." We'll talk about fans and this other stuff a little bit later. So, the Superstore was cool. Of course, you guys know, because I love me some John Cena. Had to buy the Cena shirt. I thought it was cool because, well, first of all, it was Rams colors. They could have gone, because Intuit Dome has the Clippers thing. So I was like, great, we're gonna get red, white, and blue. So this was a shock to get it. What I also like, I'm sorry, camera's back.
Isn't that Rams?
LA, huh?
Is that the Rams colors?
Yeah, it's the Rams colors. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Rams have moved a couple times, right?
Yeah, they're at SoFi Stadium now. Yeah,
I know, but weren't they like
St. Louis?
St. Louis for a while? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then
didn't they start in LA? Because I think they went back, or am I thinking of the Chargers started in LA, went to San Diego,
I think
came
it
back?
was the Chargers, and they were LA, San Diego, and then now they play up there too, I guess.
Like, I mean, obviously I don't have a problem with it, but I do think it's a little interesting. You'd almost think that you'd want to grab a team colors that have always been that town. You know what I mean? Like the Clippers or like the Lakers.
There's tons. And I swear I thought that he did a Lakers one or something. Well, no, liar. Bakersfield was the SmackDown the night before. He was on it, had a shirt, and that was Laker colors and like the Laker font.
Oh,
so yeah. Okay. So I thought
at a certain point you got to get a couple. So
Yeah, yeah. And then I mean, also they had other shirts. Like I had to get this one. It was awesome. I wanted the jersey. They were gone. So I got this guy. So I don't know if you can see it, but the
The
LA
ladders.
is ladders. Yeah, like the Dodgers logo, Dodgers colors, So I had to get that one because that one I thought was pretty badass since I couldn't have the jersey. People were wearing it like they were flaunting it. I'm like,
It's fine.
You probably don't.
Dude, I want that
But
Fatu
anyways,
jersey.
yeah, it was really interesting. They had a lot of the merch was weird. And I'm gonna say it was weird because I guess I'm really only comparing it to going to 2 WrestleMania superstores.
Yeah.
They had some people's shirts, and it was funny because a lot of the people weren't on the show. For example, they had Ricky Saints. He had his yellow one there. Shout out to Willis because I bought him that shirt.
Nice.
And your funny story. When I was looking for the shirt, I'm like, Willis, what size do you need? He goes, oh, 3X. I looked and I'm like, oh my God, there's no 3X. And so what do I say on the phone? Oh my God, Ricky Saints doesn't like fat people. And Willis was laughing. So I said, okay, let me go ask a worker to see, because I also wanted to try to get this Dodgers one in a small for the nephew. And, because I thought he'd think it was badass. So I went to the guy and he's like, what's up? And I go, can you look in the back for something? And he goes, sure. I said, well, you know what? I'm under the impression because of the size range out here that Ricky Starks doesn't like fat people. And the guy laughed. I'm like, I'm sorry, Ricky Saints. He goes, I know who you mean. I go, yeah, but can you check if there's a 3X? And then this other one in the small. He's like, yeah, they didn't have it. He's like, I guess your friends share alike. And I said, yep, I'm just going to have to tell Ricky next time I see him why you got to fat shame people and not have big sizes. Because everybody knows if you sell the big sizes, you're going to definitely sell merch. Yeah.
You sell more if you got the big sizes, if you're a wrestling guy.
Yes. And I will tell you this. That's why Brody King, whenever he went to Seattle, he knew that if he brought XL through 5XL, he'd sell them all.
Yeah.
No, there's a tip from someone I wouldn't fuck with.
What's funny too is there was they made that Arby's beef week t-shirt.
Yes.
And it was a big Arby's sandwich inside of a ring. Within days, all the 4X and 3Xs were sold out, but the other sizes were still going. I was like, of course, those are the first ones gone. I love it.
Of course. You can't not have it. Now, what they did, which was I thought was pretty cool, was there was a couple of like LA like food icon things that they had shirts of. So they had one with was it El Coyote or El Quixote or whatever, the Mexican restaurant? They had one of those with their logo and everything.
I do like when they do that stuff. Like when they were in LA the one time, they had like for the WrestleMania, they had the Randy's Donuts and stuff. And
yeah, they didn't do Randy's Donuts this time. I'm like, you could have done original Tommy's. I love their chili fries. I didn't get to have that because there's kind of
did a Comedy Store once. That was cool.
Yeah, I saw that before. And they did not do Roscoe. They should have done Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles because you're in fucking Inglewood.
I think they did for that one Mania.
I would have bought it if they did. I don't remember seeing that.
Well, I mean, who knows
yes.
if I can find it? But
hi, Digi. He wants Marv. Marv's getting a chance. See, Marv's more over than me and you.
Yeah, no, Marv's over, dude.
Yeah, Marv's probably drunk.
Time.
It's his birthday every day.
Yeah, he wasn't expecting to go on today. He's not ready. He's a Wednesday kind of a guy.
Yeah, he's a diva. Oh my Lord. Hello. He is a diva. That's very divalicious. Now they don't do the plastic bags anymore, apparently. Like they did when we went to LA. So now
I have a bunch. I found them when I moved. I kept a stack of them.
Well, hold on.
The little flimsy ones.
The logo ones. This one was cool.
Oh, the big hefty ones.
Yeah. Yeah, those are nice to have. I have one from WrestleMania because I thought, these are nice to collect because I could put shit in it. No big deal. So, yeah. And then finally, I debated on getting the Cena towel, but you know what? I'm probably going to see Cena at least one more time.
I feel like Well, and
the
then all the
towel.
towels are on sale in their shop, and I feel like this last run,
Mhm.
they're making all these special ones, and I feel like that you kind of have to pick the one you want and go for that. Like you pointed out to me before the show that he's going to San Diego, and since that's where I
Mhm.
was born, I'm gonna start making sure I got money aside so I can get whatever San Diego gear they put out.
Yeah. I really hope that he comes. He has to do one in the Bay Area. He hasn't. So I'm hoping he does San Jose, because I really will go to that. I will plunk the money down for front row, because that's where I grabbed his ass with two hands. I mean, memories. But I would want them to have the Sharks teal, white and black. So the shirt be teal with the Sharks thing. Yeah, that's what I kind of want. But knowing them, I'll probably do the 49ers. No one wants the freaking red and white gang color shit. Like, do the goddamn Sharks shit. Even fucking Bailey usually has a special shirt in San Jose. I know the last time they did, she had one. It was like Sharks looking. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, she's had a couple. She had one when she was first champ, and it was like San Jose's champ or something like that, and it was the smiley logo with the shark.
Yeah, she's got a lot. And then if you love Bailey, guys, she's been around the Bay Area going to some of the wrestling training schools. She was at BTW last weekend, and of course, because that's where her home was. But yeah, so she's been making the rounds. So just so you never know, guys, in my area, if you want to see Bailey, you might see Bailey. So
yeah,
throwing that out into the universe. Yes. Let's see what else. Oh, so I bought one more thing. Oh, thanks, Digi. Keep up the good work. Oh, okay. I will say that put some want the toot, nothing but the toot, put some flatulence in his name.
Yeah, he's talking about our toot.
Art Truth?
Our toot.
Our toot. Who's our toot? Yeah. Anyways, Alicia a toot? I don't know. Okay, I got duped with this one. Okay, I wasn't paying attention. I thought that this was great girl merchandise, and it was a purse.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, like the handle, like a zipper up here.
Yeah.
No, it's a pillow.
It's just a pillow?
It's just a pillow. I'm using it right now on my back, but I really want to, if I could, the crafty person in me wants to make on the top, put a zipper in or something, or get it so it can open up, and then take the stuffing out and use it as a bag. I thought that was cute, but
that's cool.
Is what it is. LA Knight. Yeah. Either way, LA Knight had a green shirt. Yeah. In green.
Did he?
I should have got one. Yeah. Yeah. Because his gear was green. So I was like, damn. So he had a shirt. They sold those like really expensive Undertaker and Triple H shirts. Obviously, Wall of John Cena. They had some Worlds Collide merch. They had a lot of things that it was very interesting that I think Worlds Collide, if they had put it anywhere, the first one at least, anywhere other than Southern California, it wouldn't have gone as well, because majority of the people who did go to Worlds Collide, I don't think went to Money in the Bank.
You didn't feel like it was you didn't feel like it was kind of a dual crowd on that one?
No, not at all. Not at all. The usual suspects of people, yes. But a lot of it, because Lucha Libre is king down there. You can just drive, as like Corey Graves said, you can drive like the 142 miles to Tijuana.
Yeah.
And they do AAA down there, which I guess they've now solidified who the creative team is for AAA. I don't know if you saw that. No?
What, wasn't it Jeremy Borash or something like
that? No, it's a team of 3 now. So it's Conan. I think Jeremy Borash was in it, and I don't know who the other person was, but all I know is that Conan. Yeah, we need to see like fucking Sam Adonis, because that'll be cool if like Corey does the commentary with Sam.
I'll be honest, there was part of me. Mm-hmm. I've never seen Mr. Iguana before.
You've never seen Mr. Iguana?
No, there's part of me. I was looking at him for a second. I was all like, "Is that Sam Adonis? Did he shave his head and paint his face?" Like looking for a second, I was like, "That's not Sam, right?"
No, it's not Sam. No, that's not Sam's shtick. No, the first time I saw Mr. Iguana, he actually wrestled a couple times at West Coast Pro, but I had seen him. I want to say maybe it was Hood Slam, but I saw him on an indie show, and I thought he was so cool. Just it was so great. He has a better iguana now than he did before. All I want is a fucking stuffed iguana. That's all I want, WWE. All I need right now.
I think they made a
That's what's
shirt
up.
for him, didn't they?
They did. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
He
we might
was
get more
really,
stuff.
yeah, he was the standout. I mean, I've seen Airstar. The ones I did not see, I've never seen Psycho Clown. Psycho
never seen him?
Clown is no.
I've seen him a
Psycho
couple
Clown is
times.
badass.
He's fucking
That
cool, and
mask
he's
he
cool
has,
as fuck. Oh yeah.
he's legit. Like I've never seen him before. I've seen,
He
you know,
was
Dr.
hanging out at
Wagner.
CAC last year, and so I got to I didn't talk to him a lot because we don't speak the same language very
Mhm.
well for each other.
You should go. Did you go with Roy?
I did go
'Cause-
with Roy. Yeah, Roy introduced
Okay.
me to him
Oh, okay.
because I had made mention. I was all like, "Dude," I was like, "Psycho Clown's fucking awesome." He goes, "Yeah, let's come meet him." And I was like, "All right, cool." So he introduced me, and I talked to him for a
Yeah.
minute or two. But yeah, he was cool as hell.
Yeah, you saw Natty is getting awarded at
I
Cap this year,
know,
right?
just getting the fucking Iron Mike Award.
Mhm.
So sick.
Oh, let's see. Justin said, "I'm
Yeah.
so entertained with Mr. Iguana. Can't wait to see him Friday on SmackDown and what they're gonna have him doing." I know that I'm like very
Yeah.
curious of what they're gonna do with Mr. Iguana.
I'm curious too. My only concern
Mhm.
is that so far on their main shows, I mean, we haven't gotten to it yet, but in Money in the Bank, Dom versus Octagon, they did not make Octagon look very good.
No, they did not. They did not.
I thought they
And
did
I
a really
didn't
bad
like
job of making him seem like he was going to be important, and I thought they did a really bad job of making him seem like he was formidable in any way compared to
Yeah.
Dom. And I was like, they just brought this guy in to crush him on TV or on his live event, and
Yeah.
I didn't love it because I just want more for that AAA guy.
Yeah.
So my concern is because we have that, we also have the TNA stuff. The Joe Hendrys always look like shit on their main shows as well.
But you
My
don't like
concern
Joe
is they bring
Hendry.
over. That has
You
nothing
don't
to
like
do
Joe
with how they
Hendry. So
present
he's
him.
always gonna look. Sometimes they present him all right.
They
Just
kicked
depends.
his ass in like 3 minutes with Randy Orton, and then he went and lost to Trick right away. They just
Mhm.
look bad when they go out there and
Yeah.
get their ass kicked all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm just concerned Iguana's going to come out and get his ass kicked, and I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think that now they know that this is a very it's a very good market, and everyone knows what AEW did with luchadors and shit like that. So I think that we'll see. But yes, Justin said that Dom and Octagon Jr. was one-sided and such a waste.
Yeah.
It was like even when they announced it at Worlds Collide, I'm like, really? I already knew. I'm like, what? This is going to be garbage. I mean, that was the feeling I got. So total garbage. I knew it was going to be garbage. And I'm like, do you need to fill time? Is that what we're doing? I don't know. That match made no sense to me.
I didn't get it, and it had no build, no lead because it was like coming from the AAA show that was earlier in the day. But again, like you said, I don't think that translated as evenly across the board as they may have assumed. I don't think 100% of people who even watched it on YouTube even watched Money in the Bank, and vice versa. I think a lot of people who watched Money in the Bank did not watch that show on YouTube. But
yes, and I know you didn't because you don't like YouTube wrestling.
I don't like YouTube wrestling.
Yeah, so
I mean,
that was
I'll
the
give you
thing.
this. It's really disappointing to see AAA immediately end up on YouTube when they've done things like when they bought Evolve, they put it on their network right away. They had a streaming show on the network that had Paul Heyman in it. You know what I mean? This was one where they just put it directly to YouTube. The archive is not up on the network at Peacock at this time. I think one of a couple matches are, like I think Cactus and Sabu, which is a John Arezzi booked match and show. But I'm bummed out. I wanted it to be taken seriously. I wanted it to be shown in the same level as they do a lot of the other stuff when they acquire it. My only hope at this point is that they knew they could pull a good YouTube number
Mhm.
but they didn't know if they could pull a good Peacock number. And so my hope is that they put it on YouTube to say, look, it's the best thing we did all year on our YouTube.
Yeah.
So they can try to sell it to a network and maybe get a weekly show going somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, I think part of it, it felt like it was really thrown together last minute. That was the
Really?
feeling that I got. Yeah, the matches, how they were put together. It just felt
Yeah,
like it.
they were just announced. They weren't like built.
Yeah, it wasn't anything that was, okay. But it did give people a really great chance to, if they've never experienced before, like real lucha libre, because there were
Oh, yeah.
quite a bit of people in the crowd, the ones who did go to Money in the Bank afterwards, they didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah.
Like I sat across the row from a lady and she goes, is that all they do is fly around? I go, that's lucha libre.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
It's like
superheroes.
yeah, I said that's what they do. I mean, look at Rey Mysterio, like, hi, do you not look, have you not really seen like Pentagon and Phoenix? I'm like, come on now. Lucha Underground. Well, no, this lady didn't look like she'd watch Lucha Underground, but still, I was like, be a little educated, fans. And this is where I'm going to go in a soapbox for a quick second. So, you know how we're always talking about the IWC, and everyone's always, oh, the WWE people are strong on I hate AEW and vice versa, and la 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 and la la la. Well, this was the first time this is now the second, event that I've gone to that was WWE. Obviously, went to Stand and Deliver. The Superstore really doesn't count. But with these two, Worlds Collide, and then with Money in the Bank. Well, one of them I was a little bummed because Worlds Collide was really built as NXT and AAA, because I think they would have had a couple of better matches, because honestly, I thought that the match, Chad Gable and Vikingo, was trash. Chad Gable just looked like fish out of water. It was
Really?
boring.
You don't
It
think he
was
could
very
hang in
boring.
there?
No, because the kind of wrestling that he does doesn't fit that lucha style, right? And it's like, you really didn't showcase what Vikingo can do with someone like that. So, that's where I was kind of like, yeah, that. And also too, a lot of people are, oh, he's a great technical wrestler. Guys behind me, I go, no, he's not. You ever seen Zack Sabre Jr.? And they're like, no. And I go, well, I would love to see Zack Sabre Jr. wrestle Gable, because
Yeah,
I'm
that'd actually be really good.
curious. Yeah, I'm curious.
That'd
Or
actually
even the other Olympian that's on the roster now, JC Mateo. But then
Yeah.
again, they booked JC Mateo like ass, so bad thing. But yeah, there was a lot of like mansplaining things and people trying to one up. So I ended up meeting these guys who go to NXT all the time. They're from Florida, that area. And I discovered who they were, because I went back and I'm like, these guys look familiar. Yeah, they're the stupid ones that do that stupid Ricky Strokes chant.
Oh.
I'm like, really? Come on now. So then the guy was saying, like, because then he saw my phone, because I asked him, oh, the bags, if you're traveling, Amazon has these. They're like 2 for $9, and they're really good bags to put the chair in. And the guy was like, well, I have, over 100 of these. I'm like, good for you. Good for you. Yeah, no, but I mean, seriously. And then he saw my phone and goes, oh, Ricky Saints. I said, yep, that's Ricky Starks. He's like, yeah, he says, we go to the Performance Center and we see him wrestle. We saw him wrestle Ethan Page. I said, yeah, so you saw Ricky like fucking almost choke on his own fucking his own like spit. Yeah, that's something fun. No. I said, no. I said, I've been watching Ricky a really long time. And he's like, oh, AEW? No. And the guy was like, oh, NWA? And I'm like, no. Keep going back, dude. Like, keep going back. Yeah. So don't think just because I'm a girl, I don't know shit about wrestling. Right? Because then he was like, oh, did you go to the Superstore? And I said, yeah, I went this morning. He said, oh, did you get photos? And I said, no. I said, but I did see Tommy End. Of course, I said that. I said, Tommy End. He's like, who's Tommy End? And I was like, Aleister Black? Malachi Black?
Yeah.
you know, but you know me, the indie person, that's how I know him. And I think I said that on episode 1, right?
Yeah.
I referred to him as Tommy End. Yeah. Because you know, that's sure, I don't know where it is, but the 6 man of Eurotrash, Skrull, Saber Jr., and Tommy End. That I've seen them do that match. It was at Reseda. It was so good. Yeah. Not gonna watch it again. But anyways, no. When I said when he walked by, I was like, oh, it's like Tommy End. He turned around and gave me a wink, and I'm like, see, here we go. People know. And I'm not trying to be one of the smart people, because you know, I just know what I know. But those guys were really condescending and kind of rude, right? They were very entitled. And I will say this, okay? There is nobody that should be entitled, period, at this shit. I don't care if you're fucking the Nemetes at AEW, or if you're fucking Brock Lesnar guy, the guy with the fucking neon shirt, these 2 unkempt motherfuckers who do the Ricky Strokes chant. None of you guys are entitled to anything. They just take your money. And I remember one time on a fortune cookie, I got a fortune that said, a fool and his money shall soon be parted. That's how I think about all y'all. You know? Now, no. I did sit in the rafters, but I had fun at Money in the Bank. You know, I'm a seat snob. Not gonna lie. But you know what? WWE they outprice me. So I'm really gonna have to save pennies for certain things. Like if I want to see Cena's last match around here, hopefully it's San Jose. That's the first time I, you know, went back to live wrestling back in, what was it? 06? Because it was around when Batista was still wrestling.
Yeah.
And they didn't have Guardians, and Edge was still wrestling. He wasn't retired. So I want to say it was like 2007, maybe. I have to go back and look. MVP was there doing the MVP lounge. But anyway, so yeah, because I want to be front row for that, because I was front row. And I'll sit there and cry, remembering the first time I paid for front row. I walked up to the thing, got front row, and it was $85. Now it's like 85 times that.
Yeah, no, now it's fucking ridiculous. Like, and you know what makes it more frustrating too is that, like, speaking of soapboxes, prices are outrageous now to get in, and they're more sponsored than ever. You'd think that with all their sponsorships that would roll downhill a little bit, and the tickets could be a little more affordable. But now it's front row tickets are $1,000, and Money in the Bank is sponsored by Cash App. 7-Eleven's on the fucking turnbuckle. You got Slim Jim in Saudi Arabia putting money in on all over the canvas, video games and shit. And I was like, you guys are making more money than you've ever made, and demanding more money than you've ever demanded from the fans. You know, like
it's TKO. But what I had heard, I was watching someone had said, had made note that it was TKO's with acquiring WWE. They're like $3 billion in the hole because of it, and they need to make their money back. But
you know what? I do remember hearing that when they first bought it, that it was a big hit.
But it's like, why are you going to rape the people who go to this? You know, there's other avenues that you can make the money with. You know, you don't have to be on Peacock and giving every PLE for free. You know, you don't have to be on any of these things like that, you know, because even if Netflix had some way that you had to pay, same with Peacock, like you pay for that shit, you should, because if that's where you're losing your money right there.
But they've already set the precedent with the network. You know, I don't think that's them losing money. But I do think that, like, they're really grabbing at the fans as opposed to the companies, you know? Yeah. I mean, they just pulled WrestleMania. The Rock made a whole appearance just to announce they were going to New Orleans. And then what happens a month or two later? They fucking come back and say, never mind, we're not going because they're not willing to pay enough. So we're going to go back before because they're going to pay us again to come back. Careful. You're going to have 3 or 4 in Vegas and then 2 or 3 in Saudi. You know what I mean?
Well, I thought they were going to go to Saudi, to be honest.
They might.
I thought, oh, yeah. Well, no. Instead of going back to Vegas, because here's the thing with Vegas. If you had $30,000 per night.
Mm.
Okay. You can sit front row at WrestleMania. That's almost someone's yearly salary.
Yeah.
So it begs the question to me, how do these non-celebrities afford that? Are they really in a lot of debt? Because a lot of these guys go to everything. And I now realize that nobody gets free shit.
Yeah.
Nobody. So I don't get it. Like when you add up all of these things, that's like almost $100,000 a year. And some of them look like
I got a
you look
friend
like you're,
who
yeah.
we like to talk to him a little bit like he's Tommy Boy, because he's basically inherited into his dad's really successful business and does really well and
Yeah.
has a lot of stock options. And yeah,
Mhm.
it's kind of a joke, but we all kind of goof around with him and ask him. He's gone to like the last 3 WrestleManias, and each one has cost him by the end of the trip around $100,000.
Yeah.
For everything. Like, you know, he's like itemized everything, and he's like met a ton of people, got a ton of great merch, amazing things. You can see him on the screen all the time. He's front row. But yeah, I mean, he's putting them out like $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like shit. When we went second row for Rumble in 2019, I was out $7,000 for the two of us for the whole weekend. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
Like,
Yeah.
that's a lot. I mean, that's a
Mhm.
huge amount. That's the most we've ever spent on a trip for anything ever.
Yeah.
But you look
Well,
at it now, and same people are getting similar packages, and it's more than triple that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You're talking 10 times that. And it's
Yeah.
insane.
That's totally insane. I mean, so for me, right, I would have to really pick and choose what I want to do.
Yeah.
So when they had announced Mania was in New Orleans, I said, oh my God, I need to freaking donate a lung or a kidney or sell my organs on the black market because I'm like, Ricky's going to be on one of those nights. Which one? I don't know.
Gotta be.
I gotta be in the front. Yeah. And I'll be there sitting. You'll see me on camera. Yeah. So, yeah. But I miss my days of like all in. Cost me $110 and I was in the front row.
Yeah.
I miss that.
No, that's what I'm saying. And then
Going to
that's what
Reseda, $90, $80.
and to me, that's what makes it worse is that like they're making more money than ever. They've even said it. We're breaking all these records. We're making more money than we ever have.
But we
We're
owe money.
sponsored by every fucking buddy.
Mhm.
And yeah, and at the end of the day, we can't afford to go. Like Kevlar missed Raw in Phoenix this week because he literally couldn't afford to go even alone, let alone taking his kid. He wanted to take his kid there. Looking at
Yeah.
tickets, it was going to be hundreds and hundreds of dollars
Yeah.
just to get nosebleeds.
Yeah.
And he's like, this sucks. Like he couldn't
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. That's how Money in the Bank was. I didn't have a ticket. Okay. And I was like, the shitty tickets up at the top, the cheapest one was like almost $400.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not paying that. So I'll wait. So I did buy it on the black market. Yes, I did. And my seat actually wasn't bad. I was in the terrace area. I had the second row. So I was just above the club seats. But that Intuit Dome, holy shit. That is like the best fucking place I've ever been to in my life.
Yeah. That's cool.
It is so high tech. And I thought that Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle was high tech. No, this one was great with the blinking lights on the chairs. They actually have, and I forgot my USB-C cord. You can plug in, charge your phone at each seat has one.
Yeah.
The most comfortable seats. And the way they staggered the seats up at the top, because you know how when you go to an arena and you have the shitters, it's really kind of steep, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of feel like you're gonna, if you lean too much forward, you're gonna tumble down.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
the way they did it was everybody could really see. So they'd have a row, and then they'd have this big kind of like cement thing behind it, and then they would put the next row. So pretty much you were almost like at the tops of your head would be at the person's like lower calf.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
not
kind
bad
of
at all.
cool. So you can really see. And it wasn't that steep. Did a lot of stairs though. So
So
that was the only thing.
overall, did you like the Worlds Collide show, top to bottom?
You know what? Worlds Collide, I loved because it got me to see, like, I've seen some of these luchadors before, like Mr. Iguana. I love him. He's always a blast to see. But I will say the surprise, and I really thought about it, before the show started, I said, I think the one that's going to be match of the night is going to be the North American Championship. And sure it was. It sure was.
Who was in that one?
That one was obviously Ethan Page, Ethan Page, Javon Edwards, Ray Phoenix, and oh my God, where am I blanking out? No, that guy's on AEW. I almost called it's a command. It was a singular. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. If you guys who are in the chat remember, I don't know, because when you get all these luchadors, they all kind of look the same after a while, but it was incredible.
Part of the gimmick, but
yeah, but it was incredible. Like, I think that the timing everybody had, and I will say this: I've never seen Ray Phoenix except for back in like Bola, maybe like when it was still the last one that was in Reseda.
Yeah.
Or like even like in Lucha Underground, he was like phenomenal looking. Everybody made each other look really, really great. It was amazing. Javon Evans, he's a fucking star. He is a star. That kid is gonna go places. Unfortunately, I hope they don't treat him like that one guy. Who was it? Leon Ruff? Was that his?
Oh yeah, Leon Ruff.
Yeah. I hope that he doesn't get that treatment because Javon is so good. Ethan Page, I love it when he's that dirty heel. But let's be real. I don't think he was supposed to be on that card. I mean, they didn't sell a shirt at the Superstore, but they had Ricky's. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna see if I can get the results on it.
Yeah, I can't remember who the other luchador was.
I
almost said it was
Ray Phoenix, Laredo Kid. That's right.
Oh, duh. Okay, duh. All right, I've seen Laredo Kid before too.
I know, but he's got his mask looks a lot like not Sin Cara, but Kalisto's.
Kalisto, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know why I had like Commander in my. I'm like, Commander's AEW. Like, what am I thinking? But no, that match was great. I think that the timing of it, the length. It was really awesome. I mean, people like, the timing, it was great for what it was. And it was jam-packed and everything. And I think that really was it, because I will say that Vikingo, and I love Vikingo. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Love that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Gable, it just was, it was a main event, but I mean, you should have just put Grande Americano on there, to be honest.
You think it would have been better?
That would have been probably better. And then give his spot, the ladder match spot, to somebody else for Money in the Bank. I think that would have been better. And then you're also kind of like really leaning into more so they're two different people. I think that would have been good. So yeah, because I have a feeling we're going to end up seeing El Grande Americano versus Mr. Iguana. That's coming. I have a feeling in my gut.
Oh yeah, that could be good.
Yeah. And you know what else I want? I want an iguana. I want the stuffed iguana. That was badass. And I will say that he's improved his iguana, because when I saw him a couple of years ago, the iguana looked like it was a little bit like roadkill. So he has a better iguana now.
It was pretty squished.
It was like, like if you took Marv and you accidentally, he fell in the pool and he went to go dry and he just kind of shriveled up into nothing and just was like petrified. Yeah. That's what it looked like. But yeah, so that was it. Was Worlds Collide worth the money? Absolutely. It wasn't like $1 million, which was great. Only
I was thinking that too. When you said that, like, you don't feel like a lot of people went to both, part of me was thinking, I was like, I can't imagine a bunch of people felt like they could afford both,
Yeah, you really can't, especially if you're paying for a shitter $400, right? And then if you're getting World Collide, that's almost like $500, $450, $500. And if you're taking your kids, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because I spent probably now, because my ticket was $170, but I was 7 rows back. Here is my gripe. They did not use any screens at all.
There's no screens like above you or anything?
No, there were no screens above us. And I know they have them because AEW, I went to Full Gear there. That's when I fucking double Will Ospreay. Anyways,
Mhm.
yeah, they had none. I mean, the cool thing was that Mayan, that Mayan ruins looking thing behind, but you would have thought they would put matches up there. Nope. Nope. So when they showed the video packages, they were on these two ones on the bottom, and you couldn't see anything because you had camera people that were on the stage in front of one, and then the other one, it was awkward. So you really couldn't see. And then, of course, when they're playing these things, it's all in Spanish, and I'm sitting here like, no habla español, and you couldn't even, and there was no screen, so you couldn't see the translation. It's like, what the fuck is this?
It is a bummer, but I wonder how much of that is what the AAA is used to versus what they're going to be able to start doing production wise. Like, I don't know if WWE wanted to change everything right away, because we went to a AAA show in Tempe and they didn't have much for screens up. Like, the back of it would show some of it, but you really had to kind of like look down at the ring. That was kind of all you could do.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's just kind of how they do it typically. So they're leaving it alone for now, maybe.
I don't know. But then I think, the best person to ask, and maybe we should have him come on a show one night, is to have Roy come on.
Was Roy at the Worlds Collide? Did he make it?
No, he couldn't make it.
Bummer.
I know.
I'm sure that bothered him.
So I was like, but I'm hoping that they'll do another one again soon. I don't think it's good to have them on the both days. And I'll tell you why. Because it only gave you about, if you got out of the Kia, it's probably about like maybe 2:45. Mm-hmm. The doors that into it opened at, I want to say they opened at 3:30. But the thing with Intuit, it's so there's so much technology that's with it, and they have so many rules. Like, there's an app that they say, oh, download it. You can do this thing called Fast ID or Fast Track ID. And basically what you do is you take a picture of yourself and they put it in their record book. So now if I ever go to the Intuit Dome, I don't even need to pull out my ticket, because Ticketmaster will pull that information into the ticket app. And then what it does is I just walk up, they scan my face. It was creepy because I walked up, and the guy was like, Amanda, you're good. And I go, oh, they go, yeah, you're sitting in the terrace. Just go this way and up the escalator. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, wow. Okay, this is really like high tech. And I will say this. I've never seen, and if someone's seen this before, please tell me. But they sold the tall boys of, like, they sold cans, which I thought that was always a no-no with NBA and stuff. But they sold cans. And so the tall boy of soda was $8. I was like, that's fucking high, right? Yeah. So, but then I saw when I was walking, toward my seat, they had all these like fountain soda things everywhere. I'm like, what's that? So I asked somebody when I went to go get my food. I said, hey, what's that? And he goes, he says, you buy a souvenir cup and you get unlimited refills. I said, how much is the cup? And he's like $13.50. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
that's like less than 2 cans of soda. So better believe it, I fucking loaded up on that shit.
But even that's more expensive, because I used to get the souvenir cups at all of them all the time too, and they were like $5, $6. I think the souvenir cup was 10.
But no. But that's usually like nowadays, like at the ballparks and stuff. The Oakland A's were charging 15.
They're 8 over here.
No,
I'm just saying, everyone's a scam. Everyone's scamming everybody.
Great. I will tell you, it was a great cup. I don't know if you can sneak it in the future. I would totally try too. I'd wear a puffy jacket and try to sneak it in. No. But but that's just me, because I'm kind of cheap. But no, I thought that was the greatest thing. So it was nice because it had the lid on it. It had a lid, which most of the time you don't get a lid on those stadium ones. And it had, the lid was almost like a coffee, like, like the coffee thing. It slides up, pops back in. Yeah, really secure. I was a fan of that. Total fan. Yeah. So it was a really classy arena. So, and I had a decent seat. If you guys saw, I took a picture of it I think I put on X or whatever. But anyways.
For Worlds Collide. And then tell me about WrestleMania. Or not WrestleMania, Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank. Okay, so this is my first official actual, not like NXT, but WWE PLE. Okay.
Yeah.
I was excited about it.
I'm glad you got the merch. You got the ladder shirt and the Money in the Bank.
Oh,
thing, 'cause
yes.
for me, especially like the ones you go to that you kind of like are into being at and stuff, especially like the first
Mhm.
ones and stuff, like you have to get some stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
like I think one of the things that bothered me the most, the first one I ever went to was Elimination Chamber 2017. And I walked away keeping the ticket stub, and that was it. I didn't get anything from the thing. Years later, I was able to track down and got a chair from it.
Mm.
So I have the chair and it's awesome. But yeah, after that, I think
Yeah.
the next one I went to was the 2019 Rumble, and that's like half of my wall is 2019 Rumble stuff. And I still go on eBay all the time and look up 2019 Rumble to see who's trying to flip shit that they don't want anymore.
Yeah.
So I've got most of the shirts from it, the fucking cups from it. Like it's just there's something special about the first one you go to and stuff, and the ones you've been
Yeah.
at, you know.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Worlds Collide had no, like, the shirt I wanted was the one that looked like the, you know, the Lucha, like, Libre posters that you'd see, you know, in that
Oh.
kind of like rainbowy kind of color, you know, very, you know, plain, whatever, kind of like how my Stand and Deliver one had.
Mhm.
They only had small. I was like, do you guys have more of these? Like, no. I like, they go, there's gonna be some at the venue. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to get it now because I don't want to carry it in the show because you never know. Like
I'm
most,
not seeing
and
any
not,
World
no
Collide.
offense, guys, but most, a lot of the, what my experience at these big like shows like this is a lot of there's a lot of drinking that goes on, and they get really sloppy. So
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't want stuff to
Yeah.
get spilled on. So because now they even had, and I thought about it and I should have because it was a good value, is they had an autograph thing from Javon Evans. It's only $25. I should have bought it, but
That's cool.
I was like, nah. So, but that's okay. So I mean, no skin off my back or whatever. But no, I mean, they had some really great ones. They had some really like they had a couple collab shirts that I don't know who this designer was, but some designer did one. I guess they showed him in the crowd and he had like a clown mask on. You know, trying to say it was the Street Profits, but that does not the Street Profits. But anywho, so I was very excited about this. So the women's match, I'm like, oh, this is phenomenal. I didn't know they always start with the women's ladder match?
No.
No,
It's not
okay.
uncommon though,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't say that they always start with the women's stuff. But
Yeah, I thought, well, here's the thing. I thought it was a little premature. The only reason why is because everyone's bitching online about, oh, there was no crowd there. Do y'all know what was happening in LA? Do you know how far Compton is from Inglewood? It's not that far. Not that far, people. So a lot of people got caught in that shit.
yeah.
I mean, even like when the show ended, a lot of the streets were closed down. There were like police and, you know, like EMTs and fire things going all around.
No.
So it was basically like you can only leave in and out of Inglewood one way. That's how much that whole shit affected things. I was in my own wrestling bubble, so I didn't know that was going on. But as soon as I found out, I was like, that's why everything was like in the front, especially. I was like, can I seat Phil? Because I can sit down there until someone comes. You know, I have no problem with that. But yeah, so I thought that was very interesting. So no, it wasn't because they couldn't sell them. Just people had a hard time getting there.
Yeah, if they're even able to. And at some point, I know at some point people are just going to say, fuck it, forget it. Like, you never know. But
and then, you know, if they didn't buy their parking in advance, it's like $70, you know.
Yeah, and then you get sprung on it. They suddenly tell you it's $70. You don't fucking like that.
Yeah, I will tell you guys this. If you ever have to go to Intuit Dome, buy in advance and do the VIP one because they have a really cool walkway that's there and it gets into the center of like the Esplanade and whatnot. That's, you know, where they record, you know, the things like Big E, the pre-show and all of that and stuff like that. So, but that women's match, the ladies brought it. I thought they brought it. Was I happy with the result? God damn, yes, I was. I was pulling for Naomi. And just that character work of hers at the end when she had the box, the briefcase, just the cackling and everything. That was just like, oh, this is going to be fucking good. This is going to be good.
Yeah, she's really good. Like, I was really happy that she won. I'll be honest. I think my big takeaway from the weekend was like, I don't think that I care for triple threats, fatal four ways, or ladder matches anymore. I think to me they've been done to death, to a point of disservice, where when I watch them, a lot of it to me just kind of goes like, I guess I'm gonna wait for 15 minutes before the match really gets to thing. Like, there's so much cooperation, there's so much synchronized offense, there's so much in stereo moves.
Yeah,
it feels like everyone's wrestling for spots and they're not trying to tell a story in there. And like, so many of the best ladder matches are ones where it's this story that happens to have a ladder in it. These ones are now so obsessed with the ladders and the spots and the GIFs and what's going to trend online that I find a lot of them to be kind of self-indulgent and boring. Like, the matches weren't bad, but they were not exciting. They were pretty typical. And a lot of it to me was sloppy, because I was like, they're trying very hard to work together. They're trying very hard not to hurt each other, which is all good stuff. But it comes across as slow and choppy and cooperative and very dancey, that I was like, I was really underwhelmed.
Well, that's how
I was really happy that Naomi won. I think it's best for Naomi's character. I think the story arc of her having it will be awesome. But I just don't think I'm excited about these matches anymore.
No. And I don't know if you saw your buddy Sam Roberts had a thing. I don't remember if it was on Instagram or where it was, with everyone and both shows, everyone was chanting, we want tables. And like, Sam was like, no, this is a ladder match. You're getting ladders. What the hell? Right? Because I'm like, it's stupid. Like, nobody wants that.
When I heard them chanting, we want tables, I was like, what the fuck? And I was like,
that's what I said at World's Client. I'm like, really, people? Really?
Producer lady was sitting there saying, she goes, I'm getting really tired of the audience thinking that they should actually just book the match. She goes, it's one thing to be excited about stuff, but now they're just calling spots.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's what that is. You're in a ladder match where people are setting up ladders essentially like tables and doing stuff, but now the fans are like, no, we'll tell you the spots that we want here. And it's kind of like, no, like, why aren't they chatting? We want chatty. You know what I mean? We want pile drivers. You know what I mean? Like, at this point, you're just
Mexican destroyers.
Over. Yeah.
Someone was like, man, is that all that Pentagon does is Canadian destroyers? I said, first of all, now it's a Mexican destroyer. Okay. And yes. Yeah. So you didn't see a lot of people doing that before, but they gave him carte blanche, so let him do it. But even the women's one at Stand and Deliver was a little wonky, So, I did forget. So I enjoyed Lola Vice. I think that every time I've been seeing Lola Vice, and this is now twice live, she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Really, I think she's very talented. I'm very impressed.
I think she has a lot of star power, a lot of star potential.
She does. And I really think that if they put a tag team together, she and Stephanie Vaquer should be a tag team. They had a great chemistry with each other. Also caused a little controversy because I know that the devil's kiss move that Stephanie has. She and Lola did it twice. Yeah. And I guess Jordan Grace, this is why I don't like this bitch. Okay. One of the reasons was I guess if I had a BBL, I'd get over 2 or something to that effect. And I was like, what's a BBL? It was a Brazilian butt lift.
No.
And I'm like, bitch, what the fuck, dude? You're not on these things because you know what? You've been looking like shit. Okay. I personally think that you shouldn't go to the main roster right now. You need to be working on shit. You don't cut a good promo, and you've looked sloppy every single match. Just saying.
She kind of reminds me of when Deonna Purrazzo came through. She came through, was really choppy and sloppy, and really gave the impression of, I'm already the best at this. Just, put me in.
Give me my.
But it's not working yet. You know what I mean? Like, look, it's not that you're not capable. It's that it's not working yet. You know what I mean? So let's figure out what that is. Is it a mental block? Is it your attitude? Are you in your own way? I mean, I feel like that happens a lot more with egos than people think. You know, a lot of these people come in super confident, but then also sometimes it just doesn't work. Like Taya Valkyrie, she's amazing. Everything she's done outside of WWE is so fucking good and so solid.
Yeah.
She
It was
had
that
one stint in
character.
WWE and it just nothing worked.
That character was awful.
I don't think it was just the character, because even her in-ring was off. And you know, maybe that's a big part. Maybe the character gets in your head, and maybe that there's a psychology of not feeling comfortable in that character, and it translated into not looking comfortable in the ring.
Yeah.
But like sometimes that shit's not working, and it's not because you're not capable, it's just because it's not working. And so like
Ethan Page as a face, or even like a tweener, doesn't really work. He needs to be full heel to be, I think, to really bring out his best, you know. And then Ricky can do whatever he wants. So Ricky, get well soon. Hope we see you soon.
Yeah.
Now, Money in the Bank, I thought that the match with Dom and Octagon was trash. Pure trash. Pure trash.
I want to be honest, I was very underwhelmed by everything after the women's match. And the women's match it wasn't amazing. It was just solid. You know what I mean? Like I said, it was good.
They were good and solid. Yeah. They worked well together. There wasn't any spots that were like kind of like, oh my God, I question it. Like it's a little botchy, like there was on Stand and Deliver. So that was pretty good. No one got hurt.
So yeah, the Octagon Dom match didn't have to happen at all. I was fine without it. Like,
no. Becky and Lyra. What did you think about Becky and Lyra?
Underwhelmed. I mean, they have good chemistry in the ring. Lyra is awesome. I don't see a net benefit with Becky winning the IC title. It's coming across as very self-indulgent.
Yeah.
You know, it's coming across as, oh, we have a new toy. Of course she's going to be the first one to get it, right? Like she's got to be.
Yeah.
This leads into a potential Bayley-Becky match, which is cool.
Yeah, that'll be good.
But I don't know. I just don't know. There's so much, like, I like what Becky's doing as a heel in the last few promos. I do think a lot of it doesn't connect because she does try to blame the audience for so much that just comes off as disingenuous.
Yeah.
And I just don't know that her with the Intercontinental Champion does anything for me. It reminds me of when Seth won the IC title, and it was like, I don't know why, right? When they bring in the New World title and immediately goes to Seth, it's kind of like, why? Like a lot of it feels like, I guess that's just who they put it on. Like it doesn't, for me, it's not hitting right. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. I get that. I think it was more of, my thought is, do we really need to have Becky with the belt?
That's my thought, is I think it does more for Lyra to hold on to it than it does for her to win it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she might not win it back. She might not, right?
No.
Bayley might take it off of Becky, and then you might have a little Bayley run with it. Maybe Bayley drops it to Roxanne. You know what I mean?
I think that would be fucking cool. Happen. I think that's what's going to happen.
It's what I would do in this situation. That's where I would go with it. I would put it on. I would get it off of Becky and onto Bayley, because it's going to take someone like a Bayley to defeat Becky believably in front of that crowd. I know that Lyra's beaten her twice, beat her in NXT, so it's not believable. But I think the idea of like moving a title, I mean, maybe it's self-indulgent for me to want Bayley to have a little IC title run too. But at the end of the day, like I said, if she ends up losing that to Roxanne, I can do a lot for Roxanne and Lyra to be in these stories with them, you know?
And I think with Roxanne advancing in the Queen of the Ring.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one. Awesome. That was a good one to have advance. Yeah. So I'm going to be curious with, now that we have Nikki Bella coming back. Obviously, she's going to do something with Liv.
Yeah.
And I have this feeling that Liv's little world is going to come crumbling down.
Because of the Bellas?
Not just the Bellas, but also at the same time, you've got Roxanne.
Oh, Roxanne, yeah.
And, all of this combined. Yeah. Because there was that dig about, well, I have a man. And I'm like, Well, you could have said something like, "You're only here because you have to pay your ex-husband alimony." I would have said that, but
That's funny.
I go for the jugular. What can I say?
I thought Liv was going to tell Nikki that, when she was talking about, I have a man, she's like, my man's been to prison too, just like yours, but for way different reasons,
That's hilarious. But with like the women's bracket, like let's kind of talk about that. I'm glad that Roxanne won. I don't really think that I am liking how it's lined up.
Yeah.
Because this one is going to be an interesting one. The next one, Jade Cargill versus Meechin versus Piper Niven versus Nia Jax.
That sounds like such a mess, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just doesn't sound right. And then here's one that totally is off. Charlotte versus Alexa versus Chelsea versus Candice LeRae. What the fuck is that? That's weird. And then the final one is Asuka. Okay, we have Asuka coming back. I'm excited, right?
Yeah.
But then she's in with Ivy Nile, Raquel Rodriguez, and Stephanie Vacour. So who do you think would probably win that? I hope they do not bury Asuka for Stephanie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
It's hard to say.
That's a hard one. I mean, that's just like, oh, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting who's going to be in that, in that final up in Saudi Arabia. But yes, so that's interesting.
I also miss the way they used to do King of the Ring. It was King of the Ring because one person had to win 3 matches in one night. Like that's what made them King of the Ring. It wasn't just the fact that they got through a tournament over the course of a month. It was the fact that they did it all in one night. Like I really don't like that they have gotten so far away from that too. Like I don't know. I'm really bummed by how some of this stuff's going right now. I'm tired of the Money in the Bank match altogether. Honestly, I mean, we're not even there yet, but like Seth winning made sense, but it felt underwhelming as well. You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot to it that I don't know. But keep going. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So, Money in the Bank. I can talk about the men's right now. So the men's, I'm not gonna lie. I went in having one winner, and I was like, this is going to be fucking great because already that place is going to erupt. And I think we all know who I'm talking about. We're talking about the mega superstar, L.A. Knight. Yeah. He had his entrance. Oh my God, that place was so fucking loud. He got probably the absolute biggest pop of the evening. Hi, Cairo. Saying hello. But yeah, no, I think that he did. And everyone had, good pops, but no. Everyone in that building, you could feel it. They were all, the man's going to be LA Knight because it's going to be. He didn't get a WrestleMania moment when they were in Hollywood 2 years ago. So it's like, come on, you got to give the guy his fucking flowers because since all of you guys like to talk about how old he damn is and all these old people that wrestle, when are they going to do that again? In LA. Yeah. And I mean, I'm just saying. So I kind of felt personally that, welcome back, Cairo. I felt personally that, you want to have those moments for people, especially ones who've been around a long time, maybe not with like WWE or things like that. You want people to have the kind of that, hometown bit and whatnot. So I really was like, LA Knight's going to do it. Sorry. Yeah. Because I was waiting for him
to give him at least something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I mean, I was waiting
throughout the match. I don't know if you watched it back on TV at all. I don't know how much you could see from the arena. But LA Knight was running that whole show. He was constantly at everyone's feet, constantly going
Mhm.
like this, looking over people, calling every fucking thing. Whether he was in the
Mhm.
spot or not, he was telling everyone where to be, where to go, when
Yep.
to be there. He was
I could see it a little because they
you
had the
could see it
Tron
so
up
much
by
on
me too.
TV
Yeah,
because they're so obsessed with these horrible drone shots that are
those
just
drones are
awful.
awful. No.
And they're obsessed with all these big pan outs and these overhead. They're trying to get creative with their
Mhm.
shots. And I think what it does is it's exposing a lot and it's making it dizzying to watch at times. But
Yeah, yeah,
LA
I've
Knight
seen
was
that.
running this whole fucking thing. And at the end of it, I couldn't believe
Yeah,
it didn't go that way.
and he, like I was saying, he got the loudest fucking pop. Everybody who went in there, they fucking knew, like in their hearts, everyone's like, LA Knight's gonna win this here because this is his flowers. Give it to him. But I did notice that because he was like always in the ring, he was always running around, and I did kind of see him do this a couple of times too, and I was like, he's gonna win because he's fucking he's running it pretty
Yeah.
much.
Won
And
the
so
whole
that
thing.
for me solidified he's gonna fucking win, right? Wrong.
Dude, I mean,
Dude,
and the other thing that
you
was
know,
upsetting to hear, and I know if you didn't watch it back, you didn't hear it. They said at the beginning, if you win the Money in the Bank, you have a 76% chance at getting the title. That 76% of the people who've
yeah,
won have gotten the title. That's gotten so low. In the
yeah.
past 5 years, it's dropped almost 20%. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
they keep putting themselves in these positions where they put the briefcase on someone who they're not behind, and
Yeah.
the crowd only sort of into, right? It used to go to guys like Edge and Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, these guys who were fan favorites that the fans were ready to see have big moments, but that the office was kind of toying with, right? They just weren't
Yeah.
sure about, and they didn't know if they could. So, you know what? Let's give them that freak victory, see how it goes. And I mean, let's go from there. And ultimately, we get Daniel Bryan having this incredible career. What would CM Punk be without his Money in the Bank wins? Almost nothing, right? That was huge for his career. Whether we like him or not, that was huge for his career, right?
Yeah.
Edge, same thing. That was huge for his career.
Mhm.
Now, the briefcase,
Tiffany Stratton, that was very good for her
it
on
was,
the
but the
women's
women's
side.
we're not talking about yet because they still have high turnaround on that in a good way.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
men, they have a habit of Otis gives it to the Miz, right? Fucking
Yeah.
Kennedy lost it in a match, like
Yeah.
Baron Corbin failed to cash in. Austin Theory had a whole gimmick of being a failure with the briefcase. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
Like we've had so many people not win at this point that it
Yeah.
feels like the fact they put it on Seth Rollins makes me go, well, at least we get one more win. They won't have him fucking lose on his cash in, right? He's too important to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But in my
But
mind, I was also
yeah.
thinking, but that could have been and should have been LA Knight, right? Because
Hmm.
Seth's whole gimmick is I need a title every year, all the time, for whatever is convenient for me to need it for now, right? And it just is,
Hmm.
it's recycled. It's the same thing over and over again.
Hmm.
LA Knight, if he was the one to take it off of Gunther, especially after Gunther fucking chokes out Jay doesn't believe in himself or whatnot. If you get an LA Knight to take it off of him, that could be big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then LA Knight can lose it in a month or two. He doesn't have
Yeah.
to have this long reign with it, but I think that the moment of it all could be really huge. I
Yeah.
think the moment of Seth winning will not be huge. It cannot be huge.
No.
We are
No.
so used to him winning everything always that
Mhm.
when he wins, it's not a big moment anymore. It's just
I
another
don't.
one of his moments, which is fine. But
Yeah.
you go, oh yeah, he won again. You know what I mean?
I don't know if maybe I'm like tripping, but I haven't watched it back yet. But when LA Knight was going, oh, I hate spammers here. LA Knight was going up the ladder, and like yeah, he's doing it. I was like, I was already standing up, jumping up and down. But then when Seth yanked him down, that whole place felt like it went silent. I don't know if it sounded like that on TV, but it felt like it. It took the wind, all of the air out of that fucking arena.
Yeah, because we all
Like
just went, of course, because it was the obvious one.
the
And we
guy
were
behind
hoping
me
for
was
something
like,
different.
fucking A. He says, man, he said, this is really why I wanted to come because I knew he was going to win the, and I was like, yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. And
But-
that was just, it was awful. It was bad. Like people were just, it was like, oh, and then he wins. Oh, yeah. That was kind of like, at least where I was sitting, that was the reaction. Oh, and then this man sitting next to me with his child, his kid was like, should we clap? Because we really want an LA night. And I was like, no.
Yeah, no, just fucking let it sit.
Yeah, it's like, come on. But that match, we did get something that I really, really wanted finally. I swear, when fucking Jacob Fatu and JC Mateo came out, oh, they looked sharp. And I was like, oh, this is going to be
So
some
good.
great tomfoolery here.
Yep.
Now, it didn't happen what I thought was going to happen, because I thought like that's when Cobb might end up, he'll help Solo, and then he'll, end up, fucking having beef with Fatu, because I really want to see that, even though I've seen it a couple of times in San Francisco. Just saying. But no, you get fucking, he gets taken out, Jeff Cobb. And then you didn't see him again. I was like, is Jeff Cobb still on the floor? On the wall over there? I didn't even know. Yeah, I didn't even know. But I will say, before I get into the one thing, Solo Sikoa fucking should do comedy wrestling. He was such a fucking clown, and I thought it was great.
During the match, I said to producer lady, I was like, Solo Sikoa is the Kevin Owens of the bloodline. He does all the same kind of, he does a lot of the same style of the taunting. You know what I mean? The, like making faces and doing the goofy shit. He reminded me a lot of Kevin Owens in that one, and it made me laugh. Yeah, I thought it was great.
It was great. I was like, I said, fucking, if you were to say who's the MVP of the night, I said, that's goddamn Solo Sikoa. I mean, he was just made me, I was just dying. But when, Jacob went to go help him, and he's pulling on this thing, Solo could have been, gone up a little higher instead of being kind of lazy about it. But we got the I hate you, Solo. I was like,
well, he didn't say Solo. That's one thing I was bummed about. He just went, I
hate you. I'm like, oh, it would have worked better with prayer hands too. But I'm waiting for that to come back, because that was always, for me, I think I said this on episode 1, that was always a thanks, Bishop. The prayer hands, when he's always like, God, he had that look on his face like, God, please help me not kill a fucker, kill a bitch.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I loved that.
The way he did it reminded me, it was like, it felt like the physical look that Jay was emoting with Gunther right before Mania, when he's all like, I'm gonna pray for you. You know what I mean? And I was, I'm gonna pray for me, for the man I'm about to become. You know what I mean? Like that whole thing, it was all like, it felt like, like Jacob was trying to ground himself. You know what I mean? Like he's praying to keep it together, because he's trying not to fucking go wild, like.
Did you see the Stephanie's place when she did the bloodline?
Yeah, that was sick.
He was the one leading the prayer too, Jacob.
Yeah.
So I was like, very true to character.
Well, and he's not only was he the one leading it, but he was even the one who suggested it. He was like, no, we got to pray over this. And everyone's like, oh yeah. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Like that was his thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's really awesome. But that's going to be a very interesting program. So I'm excited.
It is. That's going to be cool. That was the highlight of the whole ladder match, if I'm honest. Apart
Solo
from
be the enforcer, he was with Jacob around. Maybe he brings that back now since they're feuding. No, because who's going to be. Yeah, he's going to have JC fight all his shit.
Yeah, JC's going to do all this shit now. Yeah. No, Solo's going to continue to get punked out. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's leaning into it in a good way, but there was a big part of the character initially from when he first came in, that he was kind of miscast as the Jacob type, and now he's kind of coming across as the little brother type. You know what I mean? The one who's got too much power, let it all go to his head, and isn't quite as good as his cousins and brothers and shit. And so, like, I think if he leans into that, he can be not like Dom, but not too far away from Dom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The kind of little asshole who can get the shit done,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. I think too, The other one that was bothering me, and I think it started with the ladder match when people were chanting CM Punk. I'm like, come on, he's not fucking here. Nobody cares. And then the last match, I fucking hate Logan Paul. I fucking hate him. What's the point of Logan Paul? Can someone please tell me?
He's really good. What are you talking about?
I don't get it. I mean, he's okay.
What are you talking about? Everyone hates him. He's really good.
I don't
25.
know.
Do we have a promo code on something?
No, I don't think we do.
Oh, that's got to be one of those little the emoticons that don't come through on my platform.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. The only spot that I think that he's ever done that was phenomenal was that one with Ricochet. Because fuck.
Dude, his buckshot lariat is better than fucking Page's. But
he's just lazy though.
Hangman is lazy. But he's really good. He's skilled. He gets the heat. People boo him. They want to see him lose. Like Julius says, he fucking gets eyes on the show. I think that the idea of trying to pretend that Logan Paul makes no sense in WWE is more ridiculous. If you think there's a place in the world for Bad Bunny to be in a match, then there's no way that there's no place for Logan Paul to be in a program, because Logan Paul is much more skilled at this than Bunny. And Bunny's fun, but there's a place for him. And I think what they're doing with him is the right way too, because they're not overdoing him. He's not in the main event of everything. He's not in the main event of anything. He's fought Roman once. Gets his mouth gets him into fucking trouble all the goddamn time. They're doing the right thing with Logan. I think they're doing it real smart. They're not even over merchandising him. They're letting him merchandise himself on his own sites, and he's got like 2 or 3 shirts on theirs. It's like they're even like letting it be just this thing,
Yeah, which is cool. That's cool, because I'm pretty sure there's other people who are like, I want that carte blanche, Oh, Brooke, sorry, excuse me, I just sneezed. But Cody, what shocks me about Cody is because it's been a long time now, and this was about the time in AEW where the fans were starting to turn on Cody. Yeah. So I thought that was very interesting how he's so beloved. Yeah, that shocked me, kind of, sort of.
And then the only other match.
But then I'm used to.
All right.
But I'm used to. Yeah, I'm used to Cody, like Indies Cody / AEW Cody, BTE Cody. Like, yeah, that's But then again, whatever. I did yeet. I think I yeeted too much because I think I almost was about to fall off the terrace. That would have been horrible. Like, fan dies because they were yeeting.
Yeah.
Probably been me. But no, that was a real fun thing. Man, people that was, I think, the second loudest pop of the night was the yeeting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. See, that's why LA Nation fucking won. But anyways, yeah. Then Cena, I love Cena. It's hard for me, and I sat there and I even said this. It's like I said it out loud in her mind, like, it's hard for me to fucking boo Cena. It's very hard.
No one's booing him.
Huh?
No one's booing him. What are you talking about? He's
Cena?
still the biggest baby face. Yes. They're playing.
No.
Because shirts crowd than anybody. They cheer when he comes out. They boo when he says the mean thing, and then they go back to the fucking stands to buy more of his merch. He's beloved. And that's why I think his whole heel turn has been such a mess, because they're trying to pretend like he's getting real heat, and he's not.
Well, he got real heat yesterday, I think, in my opinion, but we'll talk about it in a second.
Pitchy little fucking promo. In the middle of that, they started chanting, "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks." Had nothing to do with fucking Punk.
No, they just like to say that. And then, I think that
it's the same people. Let's go Cena, Cena sucks is the chant. It's not let's go Cena. Everyone's saying both parts because they know that the game is that just to be loud for Cena. You know what I mean? Like, he's not even remotely a heel. He's just a good guy doing bad guy things to give the fans what they want. Fucking even Wade Barrett said on commentary and fucked the whole thing up. So it starts off with Cody and Cena in there. Cena tags out and they're like, boo. And then fucking Wade he's come too far in his career. He does what he wants. He's done giving the fans what they want, and that's why he's not going to be in. And then as soon as he finishes the breath, Cena tagged back in and locked up with Cody. And they did start the match. After a minute and a half or so, he rolled out, fucking boom, back out of it, right? But he started the match because he was giving the fans what they want. And Wade Barrett said it on accident. He's not going to do that because that's what the fans want, and he won't give them what they want. And then he did it. And I was like, so how do you explain that one, Wade? He's giving the fans what they want.
You leave Stu Bennett alone in his commentary. You know how I feel about him. No, but I think with Cena, okay, and I'm just saying this now because I noticed this on the Tron. Whoever the cameraman was with the fucking cam at the ring, I noticed because they were showing the Peacock feed because you could see the Peacock logo and everything, right? When I was looking at it, I noticed there were a lot of really good fucking booty shots of fucking John Cena. I was like, whoa. Wow, okay. Someone knew I was in the house because I'm like, wow. And it was funny because there were guys behind me who were like talking about everyone's ass during the ladder match. And I turned around and I said, the women, I said, so I guess because you're objectifying women, you're okay if I objectify the men. He goes, they were like, what? I go, yeah. I said, because I can go on about seeing his ass all day. And then I started laughing. He goes, no, you won't. I go, oh, no, I will. I touched it twice. Touched it one, two hands. They were like, you're a fucking G. I go, yeah. Just be glad Ricky Starks is in here. Because it would be worse. I said, picks his fucking trunks out of his butt, Yeah. Anyways. But yeah, no. So gratuitous girl thing. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was fun. I did
and then
go home.
Truth made his return. Nice.
Okay. This is where I feel about the return. Okay. It should have been shot from a different angle because when I saw on the Tron, it was showing his back because his sweatshirt lifted a little. And I was like, that's R-Truth.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell R-Truth immediately.
Well, yeah. Yeah. So, I'm like, hey, that was pretty awesome. Fast forward to Phoenix the next day or 2 days later or whatever the fuck. Yeah. What did you think of fucking Ron's promo?
I thought it was perfect. My concern is the fans rallied to bring him back because they wanted their clown back. And then he goes out there and says basically like, I'm not going to do that shit anymore. I'm going to crank this shit up. And I think that for me, that's very exciting for someone who's been really felt like he's been underutilized for a long time and feel like he is so much more than the jokes.
Yeah.
I'm super stoked. I do wonder if you want to believe what we're told to believe is that the fan reaction is what brought him back, that they did re-sign him, but it is a more limited contract than it would have been otherwise, that they may have not been able to come to terms with anything long-term, even prior, that he wasn't really released. They just wouldn't meet his demands. And so now he comes back and had a couple little demands. Part of it, my understanding, if we're meant to believe it, because I don't know what to believe, if I'm honest, is that they even said that he was going to be bringing back the name Ron Killings. So when this shorter contract ends and he goes to the Indies, he'll be more recognizable to that audience that's expecting him, right? He'll be able to use a name that's been on TV. And I think that this could be really good for both sides of that. We could see a real serious run, have some really fucking killer matches, and maybe ends up in a loser leaves town match or some shit. Maybe that's how he goes out. And then he's as Ron Killings and he's able to do whatever he wants to do for as much as he wants to do it. Like it does feel like a win-win.
It is very positive.
My gut makes me believe that this was kind of the plan all along. That I don't believe that the fans brought him back. But at the same time, I think that both sides have incredible arguments on why they believe whether or not it was or wasn't a work. And I think that no side is going to make the other side believe it if they don't want to, or not believe it if they do. And I think that's the best part about wrestling, is getting worked or not being able to understand if you have been worked or not. Like, to me,
Yeah.
it's whatever the reality is doesn't matter. The perfect
Yeah.
part is that it doesn't matter at all. Like,
Yeah.
that's what makes it so fun. So
Yeah. It just reminds me of Money in the Bank 2011, Cena and Punk. Because Punk's contract was up and the big thing and whatnot, right? So I thought that fans at that time believed that, you know, it was like them that helped bring Phil back. But no, because Phil, you know what, only thinks of Phil. And let's go there. So Cena's promo,
it was all right.
Punk comes out. I was shocked that he's the next in line, to be honest. I thought that, maybe they'd relive the days of fucking Money in the Bank, like do it in Chicago, his last time in Chicago, and then he walks out with the belt. But that, because history sometimes repeats itself in its weird ways.
Yeah.
So the promo, I everyone's going to know how I feel about it. All I know is that I've said this episode 1, and I'll probably say it till I die. I told you guys, that's fucking Phil Brooks. That's your hero. CM Punk fucking gave into the Saudi money after he talked so much shit about, doing Saudi and all of that. But his match is in Saudi. You guys aren't getting what you want. Unless you go to Saudi Arabia, but I doubt any of these fans are. And if I see like Brock Lesnar guy or that one fucking dude that wears the fucking ref shirt that's always in the front at like fucking AEW and WWE, I'm like, yeah, you die hard like fucking CM Punk fans. But no, I just think that it was a very hypocritical promo. Like, he just was like, everything that he said, back in the day and whatever, and everything that made him cool to everybody, it's almost like that was a lie. That's what I felt. Like, he played all of y'all.
No, I think a lot of his promo was lies. I mean, even the way he was trying to portray John and his relationship with the fans and how the fans have bought into this or that or never bought into it. None of it held any water at all. And all of it was very self-indulgent. And he's still going on trying to pretend he's the voice of the people when all he is the fucking mouthpiece to his wallet. That's all he ever is going to be. He doesn't give a fuck about the people. He never has. None of this has ever been about the people. And he made it very obvious in everything that he's ever done, regardless of whatever he says. But he's a huge virtual signaling guy. He's a huge dude who tries to take a high horse and pretend that he's morally superior than everybody else. So for me, when Cena said, I'll give it to you, but you're going to have to come to Saudi to get it, and that's your only shot, whether you want it or not. I loved it. I loved it.
That was masterful.
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. And I actually hope, there was part of me that watched it a few times. Cena started to smirk. And
Cena did smirk.
And Punk started to lose his smirk. His lips kind of dropped.
Like,
I wonder if Punk didn't know that.
I don't think he did.
And I wonder if Cena's just going to stand by that. Like, hey.
They did.
If I do it, that's it.
Triple H made the match.
Well, I mean, all I've seen so far, I haven't checked, but all I've seen so far was the Adam Pearce is considering making it official or whatever stupid shit he tries to pretend to do. But
I thought they did yesterday, but no. But yeah, that was hilarious because when they showed Punk in that moment after John said that and had that smirk on his face, I was like, that's fucking heel John Cena right there. If you people don't know, that's fucking heel John Cena. That's that's heel John Cena. What an asshole. But it was great because
perfect. Yeah, because that fucking Phil wants it for himself.
Yep.
And Cena's like, all right, we have to do the one thing that you gave us the most shit for. How about that?
Yeah. He gave everybody so much shit about the Saudi shit. And I remember when he went to AEW, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he go on and on still about the Saudi shit?
He made a bunch of fucking comments about it.
Yeah.
He even fucking, I'm trying to think, didn't I? I don't know if I sent it to you or somebody else. I'm trying to see if I can pull it up real quick. But he had that one where he told fucking Miz that he was sucking blood money off of Saudi dick. Remember?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I'm pretty sure that they did not let Phil know that, because when he was like that look in his face was like, oh, you just had to eat a fucking flock of crows right now.
Yeah.
Because you look
Yeah,
like
that's
a
what it was.
fucking
Miz
asshole.
was on the WWE on Fox backstage show, and in
Mhm.
there he was talking shit on CM Punk and said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't change the culture," you know.
Mhm.
And then Punk fucking retweeted the thing and said, "Go suck a blood money covered dick in Saudi Arabia, and you fucking dork." Like, and then they asked him about it, some of the fucking media people, and they would do the things, and he goes, "Yeah," he goes, "I'm not a part of that blood money thing. I'd never go there. You'll never see me there." You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe a company like that would do that. How can fans support a company that has a contract with them? And I agree in a lot of senses that the Saudi shit's fucking ridiculous, and
Yeah.
it's got to stop. And the Saudis, let's not forget, funded 9/11. That's why all this fucking Qatar shit is so fucking crazy that that the president would accept a gift from a country that tried to destroy us.
Yeah.
But what do I know? Either way, the idea that they're going to make Punk have to face that and either be a hypocrite or not get the thing that he wants. And to me, that's going to be a bigger showing of him. If he doesn't go and doesn't get that match and they never have the thing, then you can say, well, at least he puts his money where his mouth is, right? But if he goes, then you're no better than any fucking buddy else, dude. So shut the fuck up and quit trying to pretend to be something you're not, you know?
He's gonna go. And I think the real reason, and I think there is something behind that too.
Julie said it could be part of the story, and it could be.
It could be, but
Could be.
honestly, if you look at the history of CM Punk and things that he said a lot of things that he used to say. It's totally gone against a lot of that shit.
Yeah,
you know, he's sold
sure.
out. He sells out. And, I don't want to say, because I'm, hashtag Team Cabana. This has nothing to do with that. I just told you all that the guy's a piece of shit. Yes, it does kind of, with that. But I just always have felt that this guy is just a fucking windbag,
Yeah.
and this is stupid. So I feel like that's, yeah, it is what it is. He'll go. And because pretty much I think that's going to be a big fucking thing, a big gun over his head. Like, well, we brought you back
I think
here.
he's going to do it.
Yeah,
well, I don't even know if it's going to be like a gun to his head. I think realistically, I think a lot of it boils down to the fact that he's talked a bunch of mad shit on Triple H and the company and and Cena and Roman, and I think expects he's bigger than the business and expects everybody to kowtow to him for everything. And I think he's gotten a lot of the things that he's wanted. And I think that this might be where they stand up and say, okay, now you give us what we want. You know, we've done this for you for the last 2 years. Now do this for us.
Yeah,
this isn't
that's how you went in
the Phil show.
Yeah, that's what he did when he went to AEW.
Yeah,
exact same thing.
So
he got everything he fucking wanted. Yeah. What are you gonna do? Until finally the most extreme thing happened. Yeah. So yeah, take your little ugly dog. Big Kenny Omega. Take that dog. Go to Saudi. Whatever. But he's going. There's no fucking way. I swear to God, I want to make a fucking shirt. Like, yeah.
I know, it'd be great when they make the t-shirt that has CM Punk in that crown jewel and the little poster, it'll be CM Punk and Cena in Saudi. Get that shirt.
Oh yeah. Oh, the other thing I want to do too is like fucking make him look like kind of like, I'm not saying Sabu with Saudi, kind of give him a Sabu-esque kind of fucking outfit, put him on a fucking shirt. Oh my God. And then fucking money all around, like gold coins with blood on it. Yeah, blood. There's your blood money, motherfucker. Yeah. Yeah. If you're that hard up and this is all about money at the end of the day, Phil, you just made it fucking clear. And if you're a fucking fan of Phil Brooks, CM Punk, whatever, and you're okay with this, you're a loser. Sorry. because you gotta like, he's not your voice of the voiceless. He's just his voice. He didn't care about you. The only things he cares about is his dog, the fucking Chicago Blackhawks, maybe his wife. I said maybe.
Maybe, but they're never together, so it's hard to
Yeah,
know.
no, exactly. So, it's what that is. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well, yeah, I was not impressed with his little promo. I was very impressed with Ron Killens. See where we go. They even have a bunch of shirts for Ron on the site now too.
Oh,
Killens,
really?
the truth, Killings spree. We want truth. Like he's got more merch now than I think that he's ever had.
Wow. Well, I mean, a lot of people, they
Killings
wanted this.
is the truth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No. I mean, everyone wanted it. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I just am like,
I think it's
people
great
wanted it. I think it's a great thing too. Everyone was asking for it.
I just hope that the fans don't turn on him because he's not as funny as he used to be. You know what I mean? Like, I hope that that's not some fucking bullshit that the fans pull because they do shit like that.
They do, but I thought when he cut off the dreads,
yeah, that was crazy.
People were like, "What the fuck?" Like, if that didn't tell you that this is going to be something that it's not going to be, there's going to be no little Jimmy. Okay.
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
You're not going to see the.
You know, I think we're going to see. We're going to see the dude who held the NWA World Title for longer than Dusty Rhodes ever did.
Yep.
I think that's the dude we're going to get.
Absolutely. And is that what the crowd wants? No.
Probably
but
not.
Then again, they need to think to themselves, is that really what you want? Is that really what you want?
Because it's for the best.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. But, but I just, like you said, I just hope that they're not going to, that the fans don't bury him. You know what I mean? Like, like give him a fucking shot, please. Because, I think that he deserves to have that. And I think it'll be good because I know we're very, very fickle about, who we like, who we don't like and whatnot. And, WWE, I think really of anything, those fans flip on a fucking dime. I think more so than AEW fans. And I think that, I really think at the end of the day though, this will be a great thing for Truth. And then at least he can go out the way he should go out. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And then hopefully it gives him something he can sink his teeth into, that when he hits the indies and starts going around, that people get excited to come out and see him,
Well, I was going to say he could probably have a run like Cardona.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has that possibility that he could, totally with this kind of turn, he can totally do that and do Cardona right there. So, I mean, but that's just me thinking, so, but, so I'm going to wrap up with this men's tournament. Okay. So the men's tournament, how do you feel about some of these matches? I mean, Penta and Sami Zayn was interesting.
Like I said, I don't like fatal four ways at all.
Yeah.
I'm tired of them. They're spot fests.
Well, it's not a fatal four way. It's 1-on-1.
What are you talking about? It's already happened.
No, the King of the Ring.
Wait, did Penta win the other fatal four way?
No, this wasn't a fatal. Well, I don't remember how they got into it, but the bracket had Sammy versus Penta was yesterday.
Let me look. King of the Ring tournament, right? King of the Ring.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Bracket 2025. Because I thought he was in the match that Sammy won.
I don't know. Well, no, I don't know. See, sometimes when I'm like not watching it all,
Yeah, no, that's a fatal four way. No,
is
it's
it?
Sami
No.
Zayn, Penta, Breaker, and Mysterio was one match.
Oh, it's one match? Oh.
Yeah, that was one match.
No,
I don't like fatal four ways. And so Sami Zayn won, so he's in the...
Wait. How come this doesn't look right?
Yeah, because they're stupid with it.
Okay,
Sammy
well,
won,
you're
and
right.
so on SmackDown, we're gonna find out who wins between Orton, LA Knight, Aleister Black, and Carmelo Hayes.
Mhm.
And then we're also gonna get Rhodes and Priest and Andrade and Nakamura in
Shinsuke.
one match. Sheamus, Bronson Reed, and someone to be announced, which could be Ron Killings. Could be a return for someone else.
I hope it's not. I hope it's not. There's a couple people I really hope they don't put in
It
that.
could be a second chance match kind of a deal where, like, if since Breaker lost the other one, maybe the fucking Paul gets Breaker into that one too. You know, like
Could
you could
be.
do some shit like that. But those are fatal four ways. That's what I mean. I'm so sick and tired of fatal four ways.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
So for me, it was a fine match, but it was very much like, okay, let's just get through these.
Yeah.
And again, this is the King of Ring tournament. I wish it was 3 matches in one night. I don't like this. We're going to do this night. A week later, we'll do the semifinals. And then at Night of Champions, we'll do the final match. And it's not a fucking one night tournament.
Yeah. Well, I also, I feel like the LA Knight, he really should fucking advance after this tomfoolery.
No, it would be big.
And Money in the Bank. But that's just me.
I'm trying to think who you would put. I don't know why Cody Rhodes is in the King of the Ring tournament, other than why would he would just want it because he likes it. But at the end, if I'm thinking we get maybe LA Knight, maybe Sami Zayn, Sammy and Cody could be a good match. I don't know. There's a lot of options of good stuff here, but it does seem a little weighted on one side.
Would you really have Sammy win?
I don't know. Sammy or LA Knight could be good, but at the same time, like, what does King of the Ring mean? And lately, it's meant a gimmick change. It's meant a goofy shit. You might give the win to Rusev so he can be King Rusev and have a character because he has no other character.
Yeah. Well, he's brought his Redeemer over, and that was not doing well at AEW. So, I mean, that's where, like, with Rusev, it could boost him a little. I mean, honestly, like, I just hope that Asuka doesn't get buried. She should win her match. She should.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But that's just me. That's just
the
me,
women's. The women's, we got Ripley, Sane, Morgan, and Perez. Perez won. Cargill, Meechin, Niven, and Jackson won. That's going to be a fucking mess. Flair, Bliss, Green, and LeRae. That's going to probably be Flair or Bliss.
Yeah.
Asuka, Vacure, Rodriguez, and it's got to be Asuka.
Yeah, it has to be Asuka. I would love to see Vacure and Asuka 1-on-1, but you know.
But can you imagine if we got all the way to the end and it's Vacure versus Perez? That'd be a fucking crazy match.
That would be. I have a feeling though that Jade's not going to advance because Naomi's going to do some shenanigans. I have a feeling there's going to be some of that shenanigans going on. As much as my heart wants Meechin, no, it's going to be fucking Nia again.
I was really thinking it had to be Niven, but you're right. It's probably going to be Nia, and then you get Roxanne versus Nia. I hope Roxanne gets the upset.
I really want Bliss to have it because she was the other one. I thought that my other pick for Money in the Bank was Bliss.
I could see that. My only concern is, like I said, the last number of times we've had it, that person has now come out with a fucking crown for a year. Or 6 months or however many months they want to do it. And I don't know
or
if
maybe
Alexa
it's
Bliss's
Chelsea
character,
Green. Maybe it's Chelsea Green.
It would make a lot of sense to do that kind of shit.
Now she's graduated from, and she's graduated from, her whole United States thing. It's like, now you're a fucking queen. Oh God. Yeah. So it might end up being Chelsea Green.
Could be Chelsea Green because that would make a lot of sense because she's the one who could use a character revamp just because that's what her character does.
And then if anything, then that's how you have Piper Niven win. So then if they end up facing each other, it's like, you need to bow down.
Yeah.
I'm the queen. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Yeah, she just finger poke a doom, Queen of the Ring.
Yep. That's so Chelsea Green. And I think that would be amazing to have. So
okay, it would make sense.
Yeah, guys. So thank you for letting me come and talk about my weekend. It was a good weekend overall. I will say that there were some things I think that were lacking. I probably My opinion was the Worlds Collide card. I think it would have been better with Grande Americano versus Vikingo. I also hoped, I think it would have been amazing, is if we saw the return of El Generico, because it's only 142 miles to Tijuana. And he's there with the
Yeah,
team.
I was wondering. I just think that Sammy, as a creative artist, I think has come so far in his character progression. I don't know if he would do something like that.
I think he might, because it's like bringing back something that, I think that, because it was a special moment. And just
for something like Worlds Collide, I could see if
Worlds Collide.
Grande Americano was on it. Like if they did a second one and if Grande is on it, I could see El Generico costing El Grande the match and disappearing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then have Chad Gable looking at Sammy on Raw, and they both like look at each other a little bit.
Like,
but they don't say anything.
Yeah. I will say this, that I've said it before with certain ones that are, that I've seen, like, first Worlds Collide, they're the first Wrestle Dream, all in. There's like magical moments. Now, yes, I'm going to throw in Ricky's fucking first PLE with WWE. Yes, I'm going to throw Stand and Deliver in there, but that's personal. Anyways, but no, it had a very cool feeling in the room. I'm very excited to see what's going to be the future of AAA under the WWE umbrella. That'll be very interesting.
I really want to see what they do with it.
How much crossover are we going to get? That's the other thing too, is it's like, are we going to get some crossover? Who knows?
I want crossover. I want them to get like a show on CW or some shit, like some sort of something weekly that they can sink their teeth into and get a little something. I mean, even if they do a weekly thing with like Telemundo, like put them on Univision, you know what I mean? But just give them something that's a little bit bigger. Like that could be cool.
Yeah, I would hope so. My fingers are crossed that they do. I think right now I think the opportunity, it feels like it was almost really last minute.
Yeah.
So that's why it kind of was on YouTube and all that. But then again, who am I? I don't know contracts. You don't know them either. We don't do that thing here. So, all right, guys. Well, I think
we gotta go.
Time.
It is last call.
Yes. So, guys, thank you for joining us on a special Amanda in the Bank, episode 1 of Wrestling on the Rocks. You know who he is. Wait, wrong way. There you go. Yep. That's Ref Marsh. I'm Ms. Amanda Jane. And you know what, guys? That's last call.
Cheers.
Producer Lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support and buy us a drink by putting the I in subscribe and reviewing our podcast. And cheers.
I would never have a